cuz.
How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. Just wondering if y'all are cruising towards Mount Charleston.
Actually, we're cruising back towards the city. In the distance,
Oh,
you can
okay.
see the city.
The sun was so bright.
The sun was in our eyes too much, you know. I
Oh.
couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
So we're headed this
Uh-huh.
way, then we may go that way, and then we'll go another way.
And then you'll go wherever you want to go.
That's right. We're looking at
You
like
got it like that.
we're looking like an amazing bunch of like spaghetti bowl looking freeways going in and out of each other. They look pretty cool. And in the
Oh,
far
wow.
distance, you can see the city. Wow.
Well, you just pay attention and focus on the road.
I am.
You
A
tell
lot
her
of
that.
crazy drivers out there.
I am.
I've met a few up close and personal.
Well, I know you have. They've traumatized
Yeah.
you and sent you to the psychiatrist.
Yes. Changed my life.
Yeah.
Changed my life. Uh-huh.
I had to tell you.
Speaking
you
of
were,
life-changing events,
Yeah.
I ever tell you about the time I went dancing at Scooty Pootin with the grown-ups?
I think you told me, but Sharon needs to hear it.
Yeah, tell me.
Okay.
First, you got to tell her what Scooty Pootin is.
Well, when I was growing up, my mother would get together with some of her girlfriends. They'd all meet up and go out dancing and just have a good girls' night out. And they called it Scooty Pootin. So, anyways, I'd watch my mom put her makeup on and get something really cool. She'd get all dressed up, look so cool, and I just couldn't wait to grow up and go out Scooty Pootin. So, I finally did get old enough that I could go out Scooty Pootin with the girls, but I lived here in South Carolina, and my mom did too at the time. So we take a trip back to Vegas. Mom gets in touch with all the girls.
About how old were you then?
About 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and back then, 18. You know, 18 was legal age.
And they
But
didn't ask
anyway.
you for your ID anyway back then.
No,
If you were a
uh-uh.
pretty young girl.
Right. And I had been dancing and doing some instructing at Arthur Murray's dance studio, and I was really good around town, but the girls there had not seen me, my mother's friends, so I felt so excited. Ooh, I'm going to show those girls how it's done. So I wore my favorite little sundress. It was a little beach dress, but it was a deep burgundy, and it was like, had the crisscross down in the back, you know, to the waistline, so you wear it braless. And so I get out on the dance floor, and the girls are all sitting in this big booth. There was about 6 of them sitting there. Anyways, I get up and hit that dance floor, and I thought, oh, I'm going to show them what I can do. Well, I did, and everybody in the place was staring, just watching me, and I was the best dancer on the floor. I just felt like the belle of the ball. Well, when it was
Everybody
all
was
said and
looking at
done, oh yeah, everybody in the whole
Looking at
place.
her.
I mean, it was like they were all stunned at my dancing
Well, you were
ability.
trained. You were trained and everything, Arthur Murphy.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
you knew what you were doing.
Absolutely.
You were a professional.
Absolutely. Pro. So I get back to the booth, and I go very nonchalantly, you know, and I have this nice smooth little walk. I get back to the table and I sit down. And all the girls are just kind of, they're sitting there with just this little smile and looking out on the dance floor, looking around, not looking at me. And I'm thinking, I guess I showed them a thing or two. So I'm sitting there next to my mom, and I said, hey, Mom, did you notice everybody in here was watching me? My mom turns around, she says, yes, honey, because those black lights make those white panties shine straight through that dress.
Oh, cute.
Oh,
You
my
were
gosh.
you were the belle of the ball.
I
You know,
thought
Oh, absolutely.
I was
I
thinking
shaved
maybe
my ass that night.
I was thinking maybe you didn't have any panties on.
Well, that would have been worse. Huh?
Yeah, that was funny.
Oh, well, actually, you wouldn't have been able to see anything if there was no panties on. But you can
Right.
see those white panties
Oh,
shining
yeah.
right through that dress.
Well, I can tell you what
Oh, my
Scooty
goodness.
Pootin. I can tell you what Scooty Pootin meant to me. Scooty Pootin
What's
was a
that?
whole different thing because if we were going Scooty Pootin, that means we had to clean the dog run, we had to wash the truck, we had to do all the chores, all of us. You know, all the chores, get all the chores done. And then all the neighborhood kids could get in the back of the truck and we'd all go to the drive-in movies by way of Baskin Robbins and a junk food. And we'd bring all our chairs and we'd sit at the drive-in movies and we'd all night with all of our friends and watch drive-in movies. Or we'd do something special. We'd go fishing. Or we'd do, you know, Judy always had something. That was Scooty Pootin to me. Now,
Okay.
I do remember
Okay.
we used to go fishing. And I guess I was in junior high with and Teresa, living with Judy. And Teresa was in the same grade. She was 6 weeks older than me. Judy was 15 years older than me, but her daughter was 6 weeks older than me. So if you can't figure that out, she was pretty young when she had that kid. But so I lived with her. We were in middle school, and we were going to go fishing that next weekend. Judy wanted to catch some bluegill. We had it all figured out. Bobby was going. We had everything all figured out. But on Wednesday, Judy sent me to school with a note, and it said, I took it in there, and they read it. They all started laughing. They said, please excuse Rebecca and Teresa for being absent this coming Friday, as they will be ill. They passed that note around to everybody. There's no way I could have. That had to be true, you know. No way I faked that note trying to get away with it. They passed around. They got such a kick out of it. That was funny. As they will be ill. They said, what's going on? I said, we're going fishing. We're just going fishing.
Yeah. Back in those days, you could get away with it.
Yeah. Well, you know,
I know,
it's educational.
Yes. Well, you know, that's what people told the school. They were going to Florida for something, and they questioned Mom's attendance. What was if it was going to take them 3 days and this and that? And he said, "What are you talking about? Travel is the best education a child can get."
Yes, it is.
But they didn't really push it too much because back in those days, you know, a lot of people would keep their kids home from school to work the fields and do the farming and what have you.
Boy, back
Not there
in
in
those days.
Vegas, not in Vegas, but in Tennessee and other parts of the country.
Yeah.
Yes. Tobacco season, none of the boys ever showed up, and some of the girls didn't either. They were all working the fields.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Peepaw and some of the wonderful things that he did.
Yes. Well,
you tell the story about the house on the.
Well, in the summertime, they would take their camper. People had a camper trailer, and this was like during the Depression. Now, people had several businesses that he juggled, you know. But one of the jobs that he had, he would take a boat out at night, catch fish, and I mean nets worth, a whole bunch of nets of fish, you know. Anyways, he'd bring that fish in, and he had these these bins that you put the ice in and display your fish in. So, anyways, the people would come in and buy the fish, and Nana would wrap it up for them, and anyways, they'd go on.
Wasn't that in front of his fix-it shop? Didn't he have a fix-it
because he
shop?
had an electronics repair shop, and that was back when it was mostly like radios and you know, record players, electronics like that, light fixtures. Well, anyways, he knew, he always said, if a man can make it, a man can fix it.
Yeah.
And so that's what he did. And that was in the back of the shop. But in the front of the shop was the fishing market. And whatever fish and ice was left over at the end of the day, he said, I'm going to carry this and I'm giving it to the people on the poorest side of town. That was the black people. And he said, those people over there are starving to death, dying because they have no food. And
He was
so
such a
I'm going to
kind
take it over
man.
there and feed those people. Yes,
He
and
was
this
such
was
a
in a
kind
town that was there was a lot of discrimination and racial hatred and anger. So it was a very dangerous time. But he would, at night, he would stop, and those people loved him because he saved a lot of their lives by giving them not only the fish, but the ice, which they desperately needed. So they loved him.
We
Well,
called him
then
Eagle.
he'd go on fishing. He'd go on and do his fishing and catch more fish for the next day. Well, summertime had come and it was really hot, so he moved their camper out by the river. And I don't know which river it was. I don't know where they were camping, but he worked in the daytime as a projectionist at the theaters. And one day somebody came to him and said, Herb, the river is overflowing. It's flooding. And you're going to have to go get your camper out quick. It'll be underwater in no time. So sure enough, he runs back down to the river, and the camper was already underwater enough to where the water was just up at the doorway. Now, he was able to somehow, he got that truck out, or that van out with his truck. And there was a house not too far away from where he was at, and the man that owned that house was a doctor. He came running over to him, and he said, hey, Herb, everybody knew my grandfather in town. He said, Herb, listen, he said, I got to get some help. He said, this river's coming up. We're going to lose everything we own. And I put everything I've got into this home. And my grandfather said, you hang on. He ran into the black side of town and got a bunch of those men that he had been taking fish and ice to.
He said,
told him he needed some help.
every strong man with every truck, we need your help.
We need your help.
And
So he brought a truckload of men, and some of those men brought mules. They brought their mules and met him down there. And they started chopping down trees, cut the branches off, and set that house up on trees. And put with the truck and the mules and just the sweat of their brow, they pushed that house uphill. Now this was a big 2-story farmhouse, a beautiful home,
They rolled it up
but
the
they
hill.
pushed it up the hill so that it would not get flooded. Saved that man's house. Now that man was a doctor, and in those times black doctors could not touch white patients, and white doctors could not touch black patients for fear of what everyone else in town would do to them. Okay, that was like a big problem. So after that happened, that doctor started sneaking over to the black side of town, and he would go take medications and take care of those black people, and saved so many lives. But he had to do it under the darkness of night, so that he wouldn't lose his life, his business, or his family over that situation. As sad as that is, that changed him completely. It just,
Yeah,
it's no telling how many lives he saved.
yeah, all because of,
So,
of our grandpa. All
Right.
because of,
Right.
and he was a small man, but some people said he was the smartest man they ever met. Right?
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, I
And
mean,
he was not afraid of anybody.
and he was only
he was not
educated
afraid.
he was
He
only
wasn't a
educated
fighter.
to the 10th grade, I think. Right?
I'm not really sure what grade he finished, but I know that he was a very wise man and highly respected.
Well, I know when he
Highly
was like
respected.
18 or 20 years old, he was working at the hospital repairing the x-ray machines. That's
Right.
where he met his
Yes.
first wife.
Yes.
That's, you know, and that's when he got married, you know. But he was he was uneducated, but he was repairing and maintaining the x-ray machines at the hospital. He was
He had
really
an
smart.
extremely high IQ, and he was a workaholic. But not only that, he could not sleep more than 2 hours. He would sleep 2 hours a night and get up and start working, one job or another. But he worked day and night, every day.
He was an amazing man.
He was an
Amazing.
incredible human being. Yes, and I remember my grandmother telling me how she would come in and he would have a homeless person sitting there in the house. He'd be doing their laundry for them and cooking them a steak and lobster.
Well, you know,
And she'd be having a fit because he had these people coming, taking showers, you know, in their house. And they had like a shower area, no bathtub, but a shower area. And, you know, it was just, oh, you know, a lot of these street people were very dirty.
you know, there's something else I want to say about him, and that is he was a projectionist in the theater. Now, back then, it was a carbon arc kind of a light, a positive and negatively charged rods that would cause a bright enough flame that they could put it through a prism and project a movie, a film onto the screen. But a lot of theaters burned down because the film would break, it'd catch on fire, and it was very flammable film, and the whole place would burn down. Well, he started thinking about it, and he came up with some kind of an invention that if the film broke, the carbon arcs would separate. And he patented that and tried to sell that to theater owners throughout the United States, but nobody wanted anything to do with it because they didn't care, you know.
They didn't have to worry about being sued.
Yeah, about a year later, they did come up with flammable film, which has saved that problem. But still, the Depression was coming, and he invented something, a gaming machine, and it was a baseball machine. It was run on car fan belts, and it had 9 endings and a tiebreaker. And you could buy a ticket for 25 cents. And they paid off the police all up and down the coast to put these things in pool halls up and down from Asheville, North Carolina, Johnson City, Tennessee, all the way up into New York. And he repaired and maintained them too. Well, they'd sell tickets for these things, and I believe that people was making about $300 a week during the Depression. Now, they ate steaks, but they also fed the poor. He also fed the poor. He was very generous to the black people, to the underprivileged people that were dying, that, you know, were really suffering during the Depression. He was such a kind man.
He couldn't stand it.
But smart.
And he would bring them in and clean them up and feed them, and he'd say, "Now, I want you to go straight over to that so-and-so and you tell them that you need work and you need to make some money. And I don't want to see you back out on that street." He would push them to do better.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good man.
He was. He's somebody I'm proud to say. Some people say I'm intelligent in a different kind of way. I can figure out how things work and how to fix things. And some people say that maybe I got part of that from him, and I like to think so.
Yes.
There's too many bigoted, colorblind men, bigoted, holier-than-thou, better than, you know, if you're merely a woman or if you're merely black, you know, you're worthless.
Right.
It didn't matter. But,
And you know, that was a time when men usually had a chippy on the side, as they said. And Peepaw was not that kind of man.
No, he's
He
faithful.
was a hard-working man, and one thing I was really tickled about was when I got to sit down and talk to Bill about what kind of a stepmother was Nana. And he said she was the most wonderful stepmother you could ask for.
You know what he said? He said, I knew I loved her when she made me a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich.
He said it was the best one he ever ate.
Well,
too.
I don't think he'd ever had it. But he said, yeah, he said, I
Right.
knew I loved her when she made me that bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich.
Yes, and he said that she was very good to them. And that meant a lot to me because my mother was, she was a little bit on the tomboyish side and busy and a little too hyper for Nana's liking.
Temper?
But, what?
Temper. When I think of
Yes.
your mother, I think of
Yes.
temper. She had a
She
temper.
was very much, yes, she did. She did. Short fuse. And
And you had
I'd say she was the rebellious. She was the rebel.
nine brothers and sisters altogether?
No, my mother had 8.
Okay.
My father remarried and had 3.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of half brothers and sisters, but I just don't like referring to them as half brothers and sisters. It sounds like I'm trying to disown half of them or something,
Yeah.
and that's not it.
Yeah.
I've disowned some of them. Nothing to do with half or
Well,
whole or anything else.
that reminds me of the
so-
story of my mother. My brother Richard was a problem, you know. And I just remember hearing one side of the conversation. I told you this before. When I was about 14, Richard was 18 months older than me. And my mother's on the phone and I can hear one side of the story. She says, Richard? Yes, of course I love Richard. Richard is my son. I just prefer to love the little son of a bitch from a distance. So, you know, I mean, there's a few of them I'd just rather love from a distance these days, too, still.
Absolutely. You know, as teenagers go, it's really hard raising teenagers. And my mother always said teenagers are the most difficult animal in the world to deal with.
Yeah.
So right.
She worked for a veterinarian. So when she said that was the most difficult animal in the world,
Yeah.
but she was not kidding. They are. They're unreasonable and they're hard-headed and think they know everything.
You know what? I want to hear another story. I want to hear about the monster.
Oh.
Can you tell us about the monster?
Well, I probably can't tell it as well as my brother, but when we were little, my oldest brother was always pranking us.
David.
That was his favorite thing.
David.
Yes, he was the prankster in the family. Always had to have something up his sleeve, you know. So whenever my mother worked, David being the oldest boy, he was in charge. But I never felt like he was never the boss of me. He just thought he was. So the little kids would always be under my arms. I kept them under my wings. And but he would do stuff at night, come bedtime. He'd say, all right, lights out. Come on, y'all got to get in the bed. They'd go on to bed. We'd be laying there and all of a sudden, ooh. And he'd walk through the house. Did y'all hear a ghost or something back here? What's that noise? You know. So, anyways, he would always pull this stuff on us, but one day he did it, and it was in broad daylight. Now, we were used to it, so we always knew it was him, but we'd play along and, you know, act scared, and, you know, and the little ones would come and hide behind me, and I'd say, stay behind me, and put a blanket over us or something, you know.
You were the
But
oldest
my
girl.
younger brother,
You were
I was the oldest girl.
And responsible for everything.
Yes, I was
Changed
the
all
other
the
mom.
diapers, did the dishes, standing
Yeah.
on boxes.
So
She'd be standing on some, not tall enough to wash the dishes. And
I had to
change,
pull the kitchen chair outside to hang clothes on the line and scoot it over every few minutes to be able to reach up high enough to hang some more.
Oh,
But that was an everyday chore.
Yeah.
So, life wasn't easy, but we had some good times. But in the meantime, my prankster brother, he decided one day he was going to get us, and it was broad daylight. So he puts a sheet over his head, and he's in the back bedroom, and we
well,
lived
wait
in
a
a
minute.
trailer.
Your mom was out of town, right?
Well, she wasn't home at the moment. I don't
Wasn't,
remember if she was out.
No,
There was
remember.
another story where she.
Oh.
No. That was another story where
Okay.
she was out of town.
Okay.
But anyways, he goes in the back bedroom and he puts this sheet over his head. And all of us kids are watching cartoons. I've got about, 5 or 6 kids sitting there on the floor, and we're all watching cartoons, and I'm fixing their hair and keeping them calm. And all of a sudden, we hear this woo from the back bedroom. And the door comes open, and there is a sheet standing there. I mean, it was a true ghost, okay? So we all start, "Ah!" And I'm saying, "Come here, kids, come here." Anyways, I get some of the little ones, and they're behind me, and we're climbing up under this little end table. Well, my younger brother, who was only about a year and a half younger than me, I'm going to guesstimate at the time he was about 7 or 8.
Who's that, Bobby?
He goes, Keith.
Keith, okay.
He goes running all the way to the front bedroom as the ghost is coming towards us from the back bedroom. And Keith runs and he hides in the closet and closes the door in that front bedroom. Well, we're all kind of laughing and a little bit in the kitchen, like, "Ooh, it's a ghost, it's a ghost." Well, we all kind of knew, or I did, and I assumed everybody else did, that it was David, because he did that stuff every day. Well, David goes through the house, "Ooh, I'm looking for a little one to take with me," and he opens that closet door, and he's being so smooth. By this time, I've gotten up, and I've got the little ones back there behind me, and I'm watching to see what's going to happen when he gets Keith. Well, when he opened that closet door, Keith came out swinging and kicking and screaming to the top of his lungs.
I'm going to kill this
He was
monster.
going to kill the monster.
I'm going to kill this monster. It's fight or die. Fight or die.
I'll bet his little arms looked like they were on. It looked like a fan.
And David's saying, "It's me, David." He said, "No, I'm killing this
David-
monster." Yeah.
After a couple of seconds, David realizes he's in trouble, and he can't even fight back because he's under the sheet, and Keith is on top of him. Whew. Anyway, Keith was beating the crap out of him, and we realized Keith's serious. He's going to kill this monster. And I said, Keith, it's David. And David's under the sheet. Oh, Keith, it's me. And Keith couldn't hear anything. He was all he could focus on was killing this monster.
Yeah.
We had to pry him off of him, and David took the sheet off, and he was like, "See, it's just me. I'm just playing. It's a joke. It's a joke." There was nothing funny about it to Keith.
I believe I'm gonna call Keith, and I'm gonna ask him about that story, and I'm gonna get.
Kill the monster.
Yeah, I'm gonna have him tell the story too. That'll be on another episode. I'm also thinking about calling David and having David tell me some of the stories that he knows, about.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, you might want to let him know you're making recordings.
Oh, yeah. I already talked to him, sent him a copy of our first episode. This is the second episode we're doing right now.
Oh, you've already talked to him?
Yeah, I already talked to him. I sent him a copy of the first one, and he laughed. He subscribed, and I told him we'd be making more. So I want to talk to him, and I want to talk to Keith, and I want to So this is our
Okay.
this is episode
Well-
number 2, and we're gonna
Okay.
save some more for next time.
You know,
And I love you very
Absolutely.
much.
my cheeks hurt from laughing.
And-
Well, Sharon, you're going to have to share some of your stories with us one of these days in the near future. So you be thinking on what you're going to tell us.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I got a few more I got to talk to you about and then a few I want to tell. But yeah, she'll be thinking of some stuff. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know she's got some
Okay.
stuff under there she doesn't like to tell, but she'll tell us.
80 years old, I can't remember my name.
Oh. Well, I love you so much, Karen. Thank you so much.
I love you too.
You are the
Okay, Ted.
you are the original Karen. Right?
The OG.
Yeah.
My niece says she's the OG Karen.
Yeah.
You need to make a
Yes,
book.
I am.
This family does. You
Well,
and
Oh, that would be
Becky,
that
honest
would
to
be
God.
good. Maybe
A small book.
maybe we could make like a bathroom book. You know,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
reading in the bathroom.
yeah. Funny stuff.
Oh,
Well,
Call it toilet stories.
You be sure to you be sure to tell Steve I love him and Joseph and give my love to everybody.
Will
you have
do.
Have a great night.
Okay, you ladies be careful out there and have a good ride.
Thank you very much.
I can't wait to see the video of where you're going.
Oh, we've been all over this city.
yeah.
We're heading back in to see the city of Vegas from this side now.
I wish they turned the
Oh,
lights
okay.
on.
I love you. Okay?
Good night.
Okay,
night.
ladies, I love you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so that was the end of episode number 2. We'll be
Okay.
filming episode number 3 soon, so stay tuned.